Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this is the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, and I've had this for a full month now. Since launch, I've been using it every day as my, I'm not going to say daily driver, I'm not going to say it, I'm going to say everyday phone because that's less annoying. And now I think I'm ready to give you guys my full review. Before the Note 10 Plus, I was actually using this, the OnePlus 7 Pro, and I love this phone. But when the Note 10 Plus came out, well, I switched, and I haven't gone back yet. Now, if you saw my unboxing or 48 hours with video, then you'll know that I was a little underwhelmed by the Note 10 Plus at launch. There are lots of nice little upgrades, but nothing that makes it a fundamentally different experience. Now, a few of you guys commented saying I shouldn't really be comparing the Note 10 Plus with the S10 Plus because chances are, if you already own this, then you're not looking to upgrade to this just yet, and there's only 6 months between them, so why am I getting annoyed that there's not much difference? Well, my point was that maybe this, the S10 Plus, is a better value option. I mean, unless you have your heart set on the bigger screen, live focus video for some reason, or of course the S Pen, the S10 Plus may actually be a better value option. But then again, if this doesn't make you want to rush out and buy a Note 10 Plus right now, then, well, maybe you're just too hard to please. Okay, maybe that was a little bit sarcastic, but honestly, I think the new Air Gestures and AR Doodle features are, I was going to say, a bit gimmicky, very gimmicky. I mean, I still use the S Pen a lot, and I'll talk about that in a second, but Samsung have actually opened up the SDK so developers can take advantage of the S Pen and these gestures, and maybe we'll see some cool implementations of that. But right now, there's really nothing that useful about it. But I think for a lot of people, the reason they do buy the Note phone is for the S Pen. I love clicking the pen, pulling it out, and then jotting down some notes, or playing little games with screen-off memo. There's just something really satisfying about how responsive the pen is when drawing on the screen. It's also handy for signing documents, taking screenshots, recording GIFs off the screen. Plus, I do find myself using the button on the S Pen to remotely take selfies. So they're all nice little extras, but none of those things are new features, and I reckon I could live without them. Don't get me wrong though, because while the Note 10 Plus isn't a huge leap forward and it's not going to fundamentally change your life, it is still an incredible phone. One that gives you a day and a half of battery, one of the biggest and best looking screens you can get, top of the line specs, 5G support, although that's only on the Note 10 Plus 5G obviously, a good looking design, incredibly responsive S Pen, and a great camera setup. So when you pick it up, you really do get a sense that this is a premium and expensive phone. It's got a nice heft to it. It weighs about 196 grams, which is still, I think, 12 grams lighter than the iPhone XS Max. But given the Note 10's size, it just feels perfectly balanced. It has Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and the back, curved edges. Overall, it is about the same size as the Note 9, but Samsung have trimmed the bezels right back so we get a bigger 6.8-inch screen with a higher 91% screen-to-body ratio. That's up from 83% last year. Now, as I say, for my initial hands-on, I had the Aura Glow model, but now for this review, I've got the Aura Black. For me, I think I prefer the shiny rainbow effect of the glow, but this still looks good and definitely more professional. We get IP68 water resistance, so it's not the end of the world if you drop it in the pool or the bath. Stereo speakers, which actually sound really good, although of course we have lost that 3.5mm headphone jack. I know for a lot of people that's going to be a deal breaker, but for me personally, I'm not too bothered about it. And of course, if you really do want that headphone jack, you can still go for the S10 Plus. Samsung's also got rid of the Bixby button. Now we just have the power and the volume on the left-hand side. You can actually customize the power button if you want, and I walk you through how to do this in my recent top tips video for the Note 10, which I definitely recommend you watch at the end of this video. The buttons themselves are quite high up actually, but I found that if you're using the phone two-handed, maybe you've got the S Pen in your right hand, then your left thumb is in the right place. But for me, the absolute standout feature of the Note 10 Plus has to be that screen. It is stunning. It uses Samsung's own dynamic AMOLED panel with a Quad HD Plus resolution and support for HDR10 Plus. I binged watched most of the second season of Mindhunter on this over a long flight recently, and it just looked gorgeous. The deep blacks, vibrant colors, plus the screen peaks at a whopping 1300 nits. So if you're using it outside or just want a super bright and punchy screen for watching movies or playing games, you really can't get better than this, although it is only a 60Hz screen. So it's definitely not the end of the world, but given that the Note 10 Plus is supposed to be the all-singing, all-dancing sort of flagship Samsung phone, and the fact that Samsung themselves make the 90Hz AMOLED screen that goes into the OnePlus 7 Pro, it's a bit surprising that we haven't got a 90Hz screen on the Note 10 Plus, and it's a little bit disappointing if I'm honest. But aside from the refresh rate, the only thing that really takes away a little bit from that gorgeous screen is the hole punch selfie camera. Personally, I think I preferred having it in the corner like on the S10 Plus, but whatever, it's there and you quickly forget about it. Plus you can find some cool wallpapers that actually make it more of a feature. I definitely recommend checking out an app called Wallpics, which has loads of options. It also houses a terrific selfie camera, which I'll come back to in a second, plus it supports face unlocking, which is really good. I also have my fingerprint set up on the in-screen reader, but most of the time I just tap the power button, use Face Unlock, and swipe up. Now speaking of the in-screen fingerprint reader, it does work well. It's not the fastest I've ever used, but it is the more secure ultrasonic kind. And I did find that actually registering the same finger twice helped improve reliability, and I've also heard if you take off the screen protector, that helps it as well. But as I say, usually the Face Unlock does the trick, although it doesn't have an IR camera, so at night I do tend to use the fingerprint more. So this is where things get a bit complicated, because this model of the Note 10 Plus uses the new Exynos 9825 processor. That's a slightly overclocked, ever so slightly faster version of the 9820 in the Galaxy S10 Plus. And this is what you'll get in Europe and Asia, but if you live in the US, you'll get the Snapdragon 855 version, which is actually the same one as the S10 Plus. It's not the new 855 Plus. So I don't have both phones to test right here, but my good friend Matthew Moniz, you should definitely check out his channel, made a video showing that there's only a couple of percent difference in battery, and they trade blows when it comes to performance, with the Exynos coming out on top for single core speeds, but the Snapdragon winning in multi-core. So it seems the Exynos has caught up a little bit, although I think overall maybe the Snapdragon is still the better option. But to be honest, it's kind of a moot point because, you know, you're going to buy the one that's available to you in your country, and for me, it's the Exynos, and I'm okay with that. It's not a big deal. This model also has 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, although there is also a 512 gig option. The Note 10 Plus, and actually only the Plus model, also supports micro SD cards. You can put in up to a huge 1 terabyte card for a potential maximum storage of 1.5 terabytes, which is an awful lot of movies. It's a lot of movies. So yeah, this thing is a beast, and if you're a power user and one of maybe like the 4 people who actually uses Samsung's DeX to use it like a desktop, or the new Windows Link feature, then you're gonna love it. For me though, whether it's the 60Hz screen or Samsung's One UI software, it just doesn't feel as blisteringly quick as you might expect. Reducing animations does help, and that's a tip I talk about in my tips and tricks video, but coming from the OnePlus 7 Pro, it doesn't feel quite as fast. Obviously we've got the 90Hz screen, and I also do prefer OnePlus's Oxygen OS software. It just feels a little bit nippier and cleaner. Now let's talk about the camera, which is essentially the same as the S10 Plus 5G. There's 3 lenses, an ultra-wide, a wide, and a 2x telephoto, plus a TOF, or time of flight lens, which helps with AR stuff. So you've got a huge amount of flexibility with the lenses, and for my money, this has the best ultra-wide lens on any phone at the moment. I find myself using it all the time, and I can get some really creative shots out of that 12mm lens. Plus I love the fact you can shoot video with it, which most other phones can't. I've also found that the night mode is much better than older Samsung phones, and the longer exposure just helps to brighten and more evenly expose everything. Plus it works for selfies as well. Speaking of selfies, we still have the 2 normal and wide options for some reason. There's not really that much difference between them, but I usually go for the wide, and I kind of wish this was the default. So this is a live focus video from the selfie camera, and for some reason these guys still seem to be in focus. Maybe it's picking up their faces. And then the same again with the rear camera, and oh, it's getting a bit blurry up there. I just don't think it's as good. I don't think the edge detection, it looks kind of fake. I'm not sure how often I would use it. I do hope this will get better over time, as it is one of the main new camera features here. So generally I'd say the Note 10 Plus takes fantastic photos, but my one complaint though would be sometimes I feel the shutter speed is just a bit slow, and if my subject moves even slightly, it can end up blurry. Video is incredible though. You can shoot 4K selfie video, plus up to 4K 60 with the rear camera. So I think the versatility of the 3 lenses, combined with the image quality, the night mode, the live focus, portraits, the fantastic video, this really offers the best all-round camera you can get. I think Huawei phones offer better zoom, I mean up to 10 times hybrid, and also the Google Pixel offers slightly better image quality, but overall as a package, I think this is arguably the best all-round camera. But what about battery life? How long does it last? Well, so far in my experience, it seems to last about as long as the S10 Plus did, which makes sense because even though we have a bigger 4300 mAh battery, we do also have a bigger screen. by the end of a normal day, I usually have around 30% of my battery left, and that's with about 3 hours of screen on time. So with some rationing, a day and a half is doable. It also supports fast charging. We get a 25-watt plug in the box, which gets me from 10 to 70% in just half an hour. The Note 10 Plus does actually support faster 45-watt charging, but you have to buy an optional plug for that. It doesn't come bundled, which seems a bit cheap, I guess, given the price of the phone. And of course, we also get reverse wireless charging, so you can top up other cheap wireless phones and devices like the Galaxy Buds. But it is still incredibly slow, so it's more of a party trick than anything. So should you buy the Note 10 Plus? Well, it's an incredible phone, and I think if money is no object, this probably is the best all-rounder phone you can buy right now. But for £1,000 or $1,100, it's an awful lot of money for what, in my opinion, isn't really a big upgrade over the S10 Plus, which you can now get for around £700 on Amazon. And actually, for the same spec as this, the OnePlus 7 Pro is £200 cheaper. Plus we get the nicer software and that 90Hz screen. Although of course this does have the S Pen and that water resistance. And breathe. That was a long review. I think my voice is going a little horsey, but I do hope you found this useful. I would love to know what you make of the Note 10 Plus and whether you're considering buying it in the comments below. I've also left a link in the description if you want to find out more about this, and if you have just bought one, I would definitely recommend clicking right here and watching my top 12 tips and tricks video so you can get the most out of it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more of my videos, and I'll catch you next time right here on the Tech Chat.